Hey, what's up, guys? This is Brad with Despite Fitness. Got another video here for you. This is kind of a response video. I have a friend that asked me a question regarding arm numbness while squatting, and asked me if I had any tips or pointers for him to try to alleviate this issue. So I wanted to respond directly to the question, but I also wanted to turn it into a video because, well, it may help some other folks as well who are experiencing a similar type of an issue. Quick disclaimer here. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physical therapist, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express. I do have a little bit of experience in some medical training through the Army, but that doesn't really amount to a hill of beans. And I do have some friends and stuff that I'm able to reach out to, ask some questions, who do have a little bit more significant medical training than I do. So, having said that, here's the question. When low bar squatting, having numbness in the arms, and I think it might be bilateral, so both arms. Started thinking about what this might look like. I started asking some questions about where's the numbness, and how long does it last, so on and so forth. And the numbness in this particular case is the whole arm, so kind of starting up in the upper arm or into the shoulder area, all the way on down, begins to go numb in short order after trying to squat. I reached out and spoke to a physical therapist friend of mine and started talking through some ideas. My initial idea was that whatever this problem is may be an issue with the some first rib mobilization, or some clavicle issue, right? So what ends up happening is from about, I think, C4, C5 down to T1, there's a bunch of nerves that come out and form the brachial plexus. And part of that runs over the first rib and under the clavicle. And that's an area that can be pinched off fairly easily. So there are some mobilization techniques that you may be able to try that might alleviate this issue for you. There's a video by Kelly Starrett that I checked out, and I thought it was very good. It's some stuff that you can do by yourself, and it's some stuff that doesn't require a lot of fancy equipment or techniques to be able to do. So I'll put in the description box below a link to that video for you to check out, and maybe utilize those techniques for some mobilization, and that really may improve your symptoms. I also asked my buddy to send me some videos of him squatting, and I'll show that here. Alright, so looking at the squat, there isn't anything really that stands out in my mind that I think is a really big issue, except for maybe two small things. One is, in the video you can see that he's inside of a squat rack and kind of pushing himself into a squat, into a position in between the squat rack. I know that I personally have some significant issue with that because it's hard for me to jam myself in, and when I kind of cram myself into that space in between a squat rack and have to have my hands a little bit more narrow, I end up having quite a lot of pain as well. I don't know about numbness, but definitely some shoulder and elbow pain. So what I've done to alleviate that issue is I try to get my hands a little bit wider. So that might also be one thing that I would recommend, is open up your hand placement and have a little bit wider hand placement when squatting. And I'll also put in some videos right here where you can see some of the things that I've done to get around being sandwiched into a squat rack. So that the first video is me actually taking two separate squat racks, as you can see, and pushing them together and squatting from in between them. And this second video in this video, or in that second video, you can see what I actually did is I took two military press racks and pushed those military rack together and used that as a squat rack. The biggest problem with that is having to walk the weight out a little bit further. But both of those I did out of necessity so that I didn't have to pinch myself into a squat rack in between the J-hooks. Because typically for me, where it's comfortable for my hand placement is right where those J-hooks are, where that bar sits and makes contact with those J-hooks. So if I can't get my hands right there and get a good tight position or a good grip, then everything's kind of off for me and I have a hard time getting set up appropriately. So open up your stance, or open up your grip width rather. You may find some alleviation for that. And then the other critique that I might have on the video is you can see some measure of kind of elbow flare where that elbow is rising up, especially during the concentric portion of the movement. You may find that by allowing those shoulders to come up, you're actually exacerbating that stretch and the tightness in the shoulder, and exacerbating that impingement that might be taking place in that shoulder area. So the thing that I might recommend is try to work a little bit more to keep those elbows down. Keep the elbows down by your sides so that they're not flaring up and tightening up that shoulder girdle and causing more of an impingement issue. When I spoke to my physical therapist friend, his recommendation, having not seen any of this, bear in mind, having not seen the videos, completely in a vacuum, his suggestion is to be very mindful where your chest position is and your head position. So whatever position you elect, whether it be a little bit more of an anterior tilt or not, just make sure that the head is in alignment with the chest so that you don't have some drastic change in position between the head and the chest, or the head and the body, because having that drastic head up or that drastic head down can also create an impingement issue right at the spine. And so that also could lead to having some numbness and things like that as well. One more tip that you may try to help yourself out and alleviate some of that tightness in the shoulder is to get away from having that full grip where you have all four fingers kind of wrapped around the bar and the thumbs on the bottom, and try doing what's known as a claw grip. Claw grip is your pointer, your middle, and your ring finger over top of the bar with your pinky and your thumb underneath the bar. So kind of a claw grip, right? And what this grip does for me is it allows me to kind of externally rotate my hands a little bit more, so I don't have to worry about keeping my hands flat on that bar. Rather, by just shifting it just a little bit, I can externally rotate, and what I found is that it's a little bit less rotation and pinching on the shoulder. It allows me to have a little bit more comfortable grip. So if you look carefully in some of my more recent squat videos, you can see me doing that on all my squats, and it's something that I've recently transitioned to help myself out as well, and alleviate some shoulder tightness and discomfort that I felt. So try that as well. I don't think that your issue lies much further down below the shoulder, because you do, in this particular question, it's whole arm numbness. So if the numbness was from the elbow down, I'd be more inclined to think that there was some kind of an elbow impingement and look to there to try to relieve the symptoms. But since it's kind of further upstream and you're experiencing that whole shoulder numbness, I'm more inclined to think that it's something along the lines of a shoulder issue. Certainly some mobilization, some very easy mobilization stuff can help out. You can see some of the videos with Kelly Starrett, even just a few minutes of some of the stuff that he does. You can end up seeing the difference in movement, in the range of motion that he has, even after just a few minutes of mobilization work. Stuff like that is really easy, simple things that you can attempt to see if they alleviate your symptoms. If none of this works, my best recommendation would be go see some kind of a healthcare professional. Get it looked at, get it reviewed by somebody, a clinician, hands-on, being able to replicate the numbness, and it might require some imaging and things like that. But to try to save yourself from going that route and the costs that may be associated with seeking some more robust medical care, you can attempt these techniques and see if it's something that alleviates your symptoms. Anyway, that's the video. I hope it helped. I hope it's informational enough to give you some ideas to try to lessen some of that shoulder numbness that you're experiencing while low bar squatting. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Time's now. It's good time to subscribe. If you haven't, you should. It'll make you happy and give you a sense of satisfaction. Maybe not, but it'll make me feel real great. So, so I appreciate you guys checking out the video. I want to thank everyone that's been signing on and jumping into the channel. Had actually kind of a recent spike in subscriptions, and I am super grateful, guys. I really do appreciate anyone that's willing to subscribe and check out some future content from me. If you guys have any other questions, something that's more specific to you, I would love to answer. That is the point of the channel, is to try to help people out. So hopefully we're achieving the goal. Anyway, guys, that's a video. I hope you liked it. Yeah, guys, remember, no matter what it is that you think you can't do, or no matter what it is that's preventing you from achieving the things that you want, find a way around it. Train despite. Thanks for checking it out, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.